Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel, Bachelor Nation News fans. When Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 premiered, I, like many longtime fans of the series, thought it was a huge flop until I realized what it was actually trying to do. Bachelor in Paradise returned for Season 10 with some major changes after a year-long hiatus. It moved from the beaches of Mexico to a resort in Costa Rica, and it has a slick new look and a possible monetary prize at the end. In addition, for the first time ever, Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 will welcome contestants from the Golden franchise to the show, bringing in a whole new generation. When I first tuned in, I almost didn't recognize the series because of its flashy new look, and I thought that it was going to fail. However, I now realize that Bachelor in Paradise Season 10's makeover is an attempt to save the series from permanent cancellation. Bachelor in Paradise needed a major update. I've been a fan of Bachelor in Paradise since Season 1, and I was used to its old look and feel. One of the biggest changes is the opening song, which was set to an especially cheesy version of the song Almost Paradise, and used to have the look and feel of a sitcom from the 80s or 90s. Each contestant was shown on the screen along with their name, doing something that harkened back to their original Bachelor or Bachelorette experience, usually in a funny way. I'll admit that I was initially disappointed by the new version of the Bachelor in Paradise theme song, which has a modern feel and even a rap in the middle of it. I missed the old opening, but then I realized how dated it was. The contestants look young, fresh, and fun-loving in their new opening scenes. Some of their clips are funny, but they're no longer the butt of the joke. Instead, they look confident and ready for love, and they deserve to be portrayed that way. In addition, I liked that many of the things that made Bachelor in Paradise corny have been eliminated, including bartender Wells Adams' dad jokes and puppet shows, and scenes like the one in which Claire Crawley was made to look like she was chatting with a raccoon. Cheesy humor like this has no place in a sexy dating show, and I'm glad that it's gone. The dream sequences in Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 are enough for me. Bachelor in Paradise is trying to appeal to a younger demographic. After Bachelor in Paradise Seasons 8 and 9 ended in disaster, when every couple broke up whether they were engaged or dating, many people gave up on the show. Its year-long hiatus didn't help either, as many fans, including me, realized that they could get by just fine without Bachelor in Paradise. Therefore, I believe that Bachelor in Paradise Season 10's makeover could be an attempt by the producers to appeal to the younger generation, many of whom might not have watched the show before. The producers are most likely trying to entice young people to tune in to watch people like themselves, competing to find love. It was good that Bachelor in Paradise took a year off to regroup. I feel that, with its new look and feel, it could generate enough buzz that younger people will become curious about it and tune in. The series first premiered in 2014, so a whole new generation of people could make up the new audience for the show. However, a makeover was needed in order to lure those younger viewers. It's ironic that Bachelor in Paradise is going for a younger vibe in the same year that it added the Golden contestants to the mix. However, I think it makes sense because the show can't rely on senior citizens for its viewership. It has to find a way to make younger audiences tune in, and combining a hot new look with this never-before-seen format could be the perfect balance for the show. Bachelor in Paradise has to compete with other reality dating shows. After the Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 premiere, many fans compared it to Love Island, stating that it was copying its style. I thought that this was ironic because there would be no Love Island if the Bachelor franchise hadn't paved the way for reality dating shows. However, I understand that Bachelor in Paradise's new look does resemble the other series. The Bachelor franchise is struggling in general because people simply don't have faith in its premise anymore. In addition to Bachelor in Paradise Seasons 8 and 9 failing, the most recent Bachelor, Grant Ellis, recently broke up with his fiancée from the show, Juliana Pasquarosa. This split followed those of the Bachelorettes Jen Tran and Devin Strader, and the Golden Bachelors Jerry Turner and Teresa Nist. Although some recent couples are still together, including the Bachelors Joey Graziadei and Kelsey Anderson, and the Golden Bachelorettes Joan Vassos and Chalk Chappell, the failures have overshadowed the successes. Because the Bachelor franchise is no longer the only one of its kind after over 20 years, fans are turning to the many choices that they have on the other networks and leaving it behind. Also, while I really don't like the idea of bringing a monetary prize into Bachelor in Paradise, I understand that this is another way for the producers to raise the stakes and create buzz for the show. There has to be some way for it to stand out among its competitors. Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 could breathe new life into the struggling franchise. At first, I was worried that the show was losing its essence and would be a huge failure. But after thinking about it some more, I realized that the producers had no choice but to update the show in order to captivate the much sought-after younger generation. Regardless of how it looks on the screen, I hope that Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 is a great success and leads to at least one couple falling in love and getting engaged. In Paradise. When I pressed play on the premiere of Bachelor in Paradise Season 10, I expected chaos. Screaming, crying, pina colada-fueled betrayals, the usual. But what I got was birds, literal birds, chirping over endless montages of people putting on sunscreen and discussing their intentions. No one had cried in the first 20 minutes, not even a single dramatic stare into the ocean. This wasn't Bachelor in Paradise. This was the vacation slideshow from your cousin Jenna's honeymoon in Tulum. I opened Twitter. The memes agreed. Why is everyone meditating this season? Where's the mess? Bring back the crabs that attacked contestants at night. Bring back the drama. For the first 2 weeks, I hate-watched. I told myself it was for content, for research. I write weekly recaps. But deep down, I wondered if the show I once lived for had finally jumped the shark or hot tub. Had Paradise flopped? Then something shifted. The quiet that spoke volumes. It started with Carolina Quixano. Carolina wasn't the girl the audience expected to carry a season. She wasn't loud, she wasn't the villain, she didn't cry during the first rose ceremony. In fact, most people barely noticed her. But by week 3, there she was, barefoot, cross-legged in the sand, giving relationship advice to a crying contestant named Troy. Troy, the guy who had been dubbed most likely to propose to the wrong woman. Carolina didn't just comfort him, she called him out, gently, thoughtfully, and in a show famous for screaming matches and tequila-fueled tantrums, her calm voice broke through. "You're not confused, you're scared. That's different." That quote went viral. And suddenly, I realized something. Maybe this season wasn't a flop. Maybe it was something else entirely. Subtle chaos. Let's be clear, I still wanted drama, but Paradise was playing the long game. There were no instant love triangles, no staged fights, no producers feeding lines under tiki torches. It was slow, it was awkward, it was real. Take the Grant-Livia-Julian situation. Grant Ellis had just come off his controversial Bachelor season, and fans were still split down the middle, Team Livia or Team Juliana. No one thought both women would show up in Paradise. And when they did, we braced ourselves for fireworks. But instead of immediate confrontation, they sat on opposite sides of the beach for days. No shade, no insults, just silence. Uncomfortable, confusing silence. Until week 4. A full, uncut 10-minute conversation between Livia and Juliana. No interruptions, no music swelling. Just 2 women confronting months of rumors and betrayal with stunning honesty. "I was hurt, but I'm not here to embarrass myself, or you," Livia said. "I think we both got played," Juliana replied. And boom, that was the twist. The Bachelor in Paradise drama wasn't explosive, it was surgical. The soft launch of emotional intelligence. The producers seemed to be doing something radical, showcasing growth. I know, ew, growth on Paradise? But hear me out. In past seasons, we had toxic love triangles, gaslighting, and more edits than a Marvel movie. This time, we had open discussions about therapy, men apologizing and meaning it, contestants breaking up respectfully. Even former villain Nicole Darden, famous for throwing wine and storming off camera in Season 7, returned, not as a drama queen, but as the wise auntie of the beach. She gave out hugs and tough love in equal measure. She even officiated a closure ceremony between 2 exes. At first, fans were confused. Then they started tweeting things like, "Is Paradise healing me? Wait, why am I crying? They're being nice?" The meltdown that wasn't. Of course, this wouldn't be paradise without some chaos. Mid-season brought newcomer Jordan, the self-proclaimed alpha male who showed up shirtless with a speaker blasting Drake. He flirted with 5 women in one day and gave a rose to someone he'd known for 7 hours. He was, in short, a throwback to early seasons. And he bombed. Not because of producer intervention, not because the women ganged up on him, but because he simply couldn't function in a space that prioritized vulnerability over vibes. "Why's everyone journaling?" he complained. "This ain't therapy, it's supposed to be paradise." He left by week 6. The women didn't need to take him down. His own inability to self-reflect did it for him. The paradise proposal that changed everything. And then came the final. 3 couples remained. Each one had taken the scenic road to love. Slow burns, hesitations, respectful breakups, reunions. But it was couple 2, Mateo and Sky, that delivered the season's emotional wallop. Mateo had originally left the show in week 4. He said he wasn't ready. Fans booed, Sky cried. We moved on. But in the final episode, as Sky walked toward the proposal platform, assuming she'd leave solo, she gasped. There he was. Mateo had come back. And this time, he brought more than words. He brought a journal filled with entries he'd written after leaving the show. Pages and pages of self-doubt, realization, growth. He read one out loud. "I left because I was scared of being seen. You saw me anyway. And now I want to spend every day trying to deserve that." Cue the tears. From Sky, from me, from the crab hiding under the nearest palm tree. It was the first proposal in paradise history that felt earned. The realization. So, no, Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 wasn't the fiery, memeable, chaos-fueled season we expected. It didn't give us love triangles, slap fights, or he's not here for the right reasons bingo, but it gave us something rarer, sincerity. By letting the cast sit in silence, reflect, and grow, the producers quietly revolutionized a show that had become a caricature of itself. They didn't tell us to care, they showed us why we should. And suddenly, the slow pacing, the calm tones, the lack of music stings, it all made sense. This wasn't a flop. It was a love letter to emotional maturity, wrapped in coconut oil and sand. The fans who stayed. Not everyone liked it. Some fans wanted the old paradise back. But others? Others watched with a glass of wine and a journal nearby. Others started having real conversations with their own partners. Others began to wonder, maybe love really isn't made on helicopter dates and staged arguments. Maybe it's made in the quiet moments, the awkward pauses, the tender apologies. Twitter still had its jokes, sure, but the tone had shifted. They're not just finding love, they're finding themselves. This season went from cringe to comfort. I needed this. The After Paradise effect. Weeks after the final, the cast did their press rounds. Carolina now had her own podcast about mindful dating. Grant and Juliana were friends again, not lovers, but supportive co-survivors of Bachelor Nation. Mateo and Sky, still together, posting slow, unfiltered photos, no brand deals, just joy. The impact trickled out into real life. People tweeted about going to therapy, about leaving toxic relationships, about being open to love again. Somewhere in between the confessionals and sunsets, Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 had done the unthinkable. It had matured. And in doing so, it took us with it. Paradise didn't flop. It evolved. And while I'll always have a soft spot for the train wrecks of Seasons 4 and 6, this season reminded me that reality TV doesn't have to be outrageous to be meaningful. Sometimes it just needs to be real.